My brothers and sisters, we're slowly entering into the second Shabbat of the war. We're going to Shabbos here at the Kotel. It's been very quiet. It's been closed. The old city's been closed because the worry about the missiles, but people in their homes are pouring out their hearts. And I want to leave you with a Shabbat thought of this week's Parshas Shelach, because I think it's something so important to the times that we're going through right now. And of course, famously, the Jewish people exits Egypt. We're about to go into Israel, and then they say, wait, we'd like to send some spies in to know about the land that we're entering. And so 12 spies are taken and sent, and they come back, and they say, wow, the land's incredible, it's wonderful, it's beautiful. But it's going to be too hard to conquer. That's what 10 of the spies say. 2 of them, Kalev and Yeshua, Joshua and Caleb, say, no, it's not true, but it's not enough. The Jewish people get very, very upset, and we wind up getting punished for 40 years in the desert as a result of that horrible report and the lack of faith that we had in God after we had just watched all the miracles happen, the lack of faith. The question arises, who were these 12 people that went into Israel? So if you look at the Ramban, Nachmanides, he says that it's not usual. Usually we list out in order of tribe. That's not the way this goes. This list is in order of who was the most prominent Jewish leader, Gadol b'Torah, people that knew a lot of Jewish wisdom. And on this list, Caleb and Joshua are 3 and 5. The guy's going to take over Moshe doesn't even crack the top few. So these were the top Jewish leaders. How in the world did they come back with such an awful, terrible description of Israel? And so I believe the answer lies in what they were currently doing at that time. They left Egypt and they got the Torah. So they were literally there in the desert learning Torah. They wanted to see what it was and they were studying and learning. And they were having manna from heaven. Man was falling in front of their house. So food was no problem. Water was no problem. Learning was geschmack, beautiful, wonderful. And so they went into Israel and they said, hey, we're going to have to go to war. We're going to have to work the fields. We're not going to be able to learn as much Torah. It's really good in the desert. Let's just go back and we'll just stay in the desert. We'll tell them it's not so great. We'll hang out there. Sounds like it makes a lot of sense. And they were in fact right. Because if you go to the book of Joshua, Yoshua, you find that at one point there's a malach, an angel that comes to kill Joshua. Why? The commentators say because they went to war and they weren't studying as much Torah. They had left it behind. Yes, even soldiers and warriors study Torah. And by the way, I'm sitting here with this beautiful view here. I remember we had a very prominent person down at the Western Wall one time, and there were snipers on our roof for 7 hours. And as they came down with the guns slung on their shoulder, one of the rabbis said to one of them who was wearing a kippah, he said, what were you doing for 7 hours? The guy showed up for 5 minutes. He smiles, laughs, and takes out a daf yomi. He was learning Talmud. So yes, soldiers also study, thank God, Jewish wisdom. So these 10 spies said, let's stick it out in the desert. Let's stick it out here and we'll learn. It'll be great. And what's wrong? Honestly, that sounds like it makes a lot of sense to me. What's the only problem with what they just said? The only problem, it's not what God wanted. That's not what God wanted. These Jews, they were very religious and they learned and all the things were beautiful and very connected. But God has a plan for this world. And sometimes we don't understand that plan. God wanted us and needed us in Israel. And yes, it would have been a hard war and it would have been difficult going into Israel. But God would have had our back. Because that's what faith means. Faith doesn't mean that I sit back and just wait for good things to happen. Faith means we fight, we work, we sweat, and we get as far as we can. And guess what? When we get that far, God grabs our hand and pulls us up the rest of the way. That's what it means to be a Jew, and the Meraglim did not understand this. And I tell you, my brothers and sisters, on this Shabbos, it's been a long time since October 7th. We have been at war for a long time, but finally we have taken it to the head of the snake, to Iran. We're in our second Shabbos of this next phase. Be strong, because we're here in Israel, because this is where God wanted us. This is our land. We are the indigenous people for over 3,000 years. The Jewish people are back home. And whether you're here in Israel or whether you're in the diaspora, our hearts must be as one, focused right here. Because if we fight together, if we pray together, if we live together, if we learn together, if we love each other, we're going to be victorious. And so let us learn from this lesson of the spies to not be smarter than God and to embrace God and to love God. Because when we do, there's no stopping the Jewish people. Am Yisrael Chai.